Never let anybody see you sweat. So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener. I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw. Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with the show.
Paul Hammett claims his daughter overdosed after a classmate supplied her with morphine. Janet Chen says her son was blackmailed into providing pills that were left over from her late husband's hospice care.
All right, Mr. Hammett, you are suing Ms. Chen for $1,100 that you say she's responsible for because your daughter had an overdose, which, according to you, were from drugs given to her by her son. All right. Tell me what happened.
This is where the legal complexity begins. The plaintiff argues negligence, that the mother should have destroyed the leftover hospice medication. And technically, yes, medical guidelines advise safe disposal. However, negligence in law requires more than a simple failure to act. It requires proof that the failure directly caused the harm. The twist here is that the drugs were not openly available. They were hidden in a closet, discovered by a grieving son, and then used as leverage by another teenager. So the critical question becomes, is the mother legally liable for her son being pressured? Or does responsibility fall entirely on the girl who demanded the pills? What is your view?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm suing the defendant for negligence. She's the mother of a kid at my daughter's school.
Did you know him before this?
I did not, Judge.
Okay, and how long had your daughter known him?
They're acquaintances, Your Honor.
Okay, and I'll tell you what, since the parents get involved later, I'd like you to step up, please. If you don't mind, no, Ms. Sasha Hammett, go ahead and come forward. Tell me about what happened, darling.
It started a while ago, Your Honor. I was asking for morphine.
Okay, how did you know that he would have any?
He was going about at school, bragging about it to his friends. I overheard him.
Okay, and why did he have it?
He explained to me that he was searching through his dad's old stuff in his closet, and he found it in a bin.
Is Dad around, or Dad passed away?
My husband passed last year of pancreatic cancer.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right, so they were leftover narcotics, and according to you, he had been bragging at school, and what does that have to do with you?
Yes,
You
Your Honor.
asked for them?
Yes, Your Honor.
How? What did you say?
I sent him a text and asked him if he still had them.
And what did he say?
He tried to dissuade me.
Let us pause here. The emotional weight is enormous. A father discovers his daughter collapsed on the bathroom floor, rushes her to the emergency room, and watches as doctors administer Narcan to save her life. His younger son, the one who found her, will carry that trauma forever. Yet in court, emotion does not determine liability. The father sees the defendant as negligent, but the judge must balance law against heartbreak. This is where the real tension arises. Should a court lean on compassion and emotion, or remain bound to the strict letter of the law?
And?
And I kept asking.
All right. And then tell me about the day that you get your hands on the drugs. Tell me how that happens.
So he brings them to me at school,
Okay.
and that was pretty much it. We didn't talk the rest of the day.
Where did you do them?
I went home later that night, and I took them in my bathroom, Your Honor.
Okay. And how do you learn that she has overdosed, Mr. Hammett?
Yes, Your Honor. My son her younger brother, really traumatized because of this event, finds her on the ground in the bathroom.
Okay.
She was throwing up, and she was barely responsive. So I rushed her immediately to the hospital, Your Honor.
Okay.
They're in the emergency room. They came up and they told me that she had overdosed with morphine. They used Narcan. They pumped her stomach, and she stayed overnight.
Okay.
So it was a
Had
horrible
she told you,
experience.
Dad, I took some drugs, or no?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Was she verbal? Was she able to talk to the doctors, or you, or anybody else?
She was, during this whole event, she was barely responsive. Afterwards, when I found out, when she began to recover, I asked her, honey, where did you get these drugs? And she told me she got them from the defendant.
Okay. Mr. Chen, can I have you step up? Okay. Tell me about the conversations that you had with Ms. Hammett regarding the drugs.
Yes.
By the way, are these drugs in what form do they take?
Your
Are they
Honor.
pills? Are they what?
They were pills left over from my husband's hospice care.
Okay. All right. According to her, you were bragging to people at school that you had them, that you'd found them.
It wasn't like that. I've been having like such hard times, so I was kind of going through all Dad's old stuff, and I kind of wanted to see if there was any piece of him left that, you know, wasn't out in the open, and I found his box of old stuff, his baseball cards, some old hats, and, you know, I just left them there. I noticed the pills, but I didn't think too much of them. And then I went to school. I wasn't bragging. I don't even have that many friends to brag to. I just was sitting in class with one person. I was talking to him about it, and then Sasha was sitting 2 seats behind, and she heard.
This is where the case dramatically shifts. The son explains that he was not bragging about pills. He was grieving, sorting through his late father's belongings. Sasha overheard, and then began demanding drugs. The shocking twist? She allegedly blackmailed him, threatening to reveal his sexuality unless he complied. This turns the case from a negligence claim into a story of coercion, manipulation, and cruelty. Blackmail in law is its own crime. Think about the weight of that. Who is the true victim here? The girl who overdosed, or the boy whose grief and identity were weaponized against him?
And then I didn't even think she was listening to our conversation, but I just told them, like, yeah, these are the stuff I found, and they were also like a bottle of pills.
And then what? Tell me what Sasha says.
And then I really did not know she heard, but then later that day she texted me and, you know, asked for them. And then the entire month, she just keeps and keeps asking every time I say no,
And you're saying no each time?
I'm saying no.
Coming up on Justice for the People.
Is this the first time you do drugs? Yeah, I think the answer to that is no, right? Be honest. You're in court, you're under oath. Come on.
Yes, Your Honor, I've done drugs before.
Okay, because you act like a person who desperately wants them.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is Justice for the People with Judge Millian. We're back with the case of Paul Hammett, who blames Janet Chen for his daughter's overdose.
Do you have the text from?
Your
let me
Honor, I
see
do.
it. Go on.
You can see that she relentlessly hounded
Okay,
him.
let me hear from him. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I would always say no, 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 it's not a good idea. And then I don't even know, Your Honor, if I'm gay or not, but she was threatening to tell the entire school that I was. And, here it's like pretty tough for people who are LGBT. I was afraid that maybe I was going like for people to maybe not want to associate with me anymore, maybe not being able to get jobs, and even like my physical safety. Like, people have gotten beat up like at nights from this. Like, if I were to go outside at night, maybe walking home late, like I was afraid. And so she really threatened me to like basically blackmailing me. And
Give me a moment and let me look through the text. I know you said no before, but I was thinking on Sunday we could maybe just take one pill. Sasha, I'm really not okay with that.
The text messages tell the unfiltered truth. Sasha relentlessly pressing, mocking his grief, and threatening to out him. He resists, repeatedly saying no, but the pressure is unrelenting. For legal analysis, this is crucial. The evidence shows intent, persistence, and manipulation on her part. No one forced Sasha to ingest morphine. She orchestrated her access to it. Here is the important question. Does this completely dismantle the father's negligence argument? Or is there still some measure of blame on the mother for not disposing of the medication? Share your perspective below.
It just feels so wrong. Oh my God, it's not a big deal. Maybe, but it is for me, so it's a no. You're being so lame. On May 16th, you should bring those pills too. It would be so much fun. You don't respond, and then 4 days later, why haven't you texted me? Just been busy trying to help my mom. Okay, you're not mad, right? No. Okay, good. It was just kind of, and then you tell her, it was just kind of lame for you to keep asking for the pills. And you're literally being so lame about it, she says to you. Annika and I were talking about it, and seriously, you need to grow up. You say, what the hell? She says, you're such a baby all the time and doing this pity me routine. What is she referring to? About the death of your dad?
I think so.
What were you referring to? The death of his dad?
Not entirely, Your Honor. He has this way about him at school where he just always head down and everything and wants everyone to pity him and
leave me alone. He doesn't need your pity. He wants you to leave him alone and stop asking him for the pills. And everyone knows you're gay. See, you can't even respond to a message. You're such a baby. He asks, what did you mean by everyone knows I'm gay? To which you respond, what, like it's a secret? And he says, yeah, Sasha, it kind of is. Did you tell anyone? Had you confided anything in her at that point that she would confront you like that?
I'd never confided in her. I would never.
What did you mean? Okay, you say, did you tell anyone? That's the only reason I asked. Why does it matter? Are you serious? No one cares. Sasha, please don't tell me you've told people, please. No, I haven't told anyone. Why are you doing this? I will tell people, though. What? Only way is if you give me those pills. Sasha, I can't give you the pills. Please don't tell anyone. I told you, if you don't want me to tell anyone, then you'll give me the pills.
Did you notice the contradiction? Sasha insists that she only took 2 pills. However, the doctors reported such a high level of morphine in her bloodstream that they doubted her story. In legal proceedings, credibility is vital. When testimony appears inconsistent, it weakens the entire claim. Here, her minimization and deflection are clear signs of denial, which is common in cases involving substance use. However, in court, those distortions of the truth serve as compelling evidence against the plaintiff's position.
Mom, you read this obviously before you gave it.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't, Sasha. My mom will notice. Then be sneaky. I'll give you a week. What the hell is that?
I thought I could get them out of him.
But is this the first time you do drugs? Yeah, I think the answer to that is no, right? Be honest. You're in court, you're under oath. Come on.
Yes, Your Honor, I've done drugs before.
Okay, because you act like a person who desperately wants them. You don't act like a person who wants to try one pill and see what the buzz is like. Okay, I'm bringing them to school. Just please don't tell anyone, okay? You have my word. All right. When you find out about it, you guys are from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. And when you find out about it, do you reach out to her? Did you talk to her at all or no?
No, we haven't talked since she got the pills from me.
Did you talk to your mother about it?
Not until recently.
Okay. How do you find out what had happened?
So one evening, late at night, my door is being absolutely pounded upon.
How late at night?
9 o'clock. pounding at my door. I've never seen this gentleman before in my life, and he is acting absolutely crazed, screaming that my son is selling drugs and caused his daughter to overdose, and it's my responsibility, and I will be held accountable. I've never seen this lunatic in my life.
When was that in relation to when your daughter OD'd?
That was the next night, Your Honor.
The next night?
And Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah?
At the emergency room, the medical personnel kept coming up to me and telling me, why did your daughter try to kill herself? Why did she try to kill herself?
Well, why are you looking at her like that's her fault? The person who over-ingested morphine was your daughter.
That's right.
Have you asked your daughter
Yes, Your
why
Honor.
she may have tried to kill herself by taking too many? How many pills did you take, darling?
Your Honor, I only took 2, and I did not try to kill myself.
Okay, but that you sure took a risk, not knowing what effect it would have on you. Apparently, those 2 in your little body, which is 50 pounds soaking wet, was a lot, right? Because the doctors told you that you overdosed, right? Okay, so did they imply that she took more than 2 pills?
They said to me, Your Honor, they found so much morphine in her bloodstream.
Okay,
they
so
thought she had
then
tried to
it
commit
sounds like
suicide.
she didn't take 2 pills.
So I was horrified. I was furious. I was scared, Your Honor.
Okay, but who are you furious at?
Coming up,
I think there's certainly blame to go around on both sides.
Okay, who made you take the drugs, sweetie?
Peer pressure from my friends.
Okay, nobody
Everyone-
made you. You put them in your mouth because you wanted them.
Now the father shifts the blame. He argues that the mother failed to dispose of the medication, which made this entire tragedy possible. On the surface, it may sound reasonable, but in negligence law, foreseeability is the deciding factor. Could the mother have reasonably predicted that her grieving son would be blackmailed into giving pills to a classmate? Almost certainly not. Courts often dismiss negligence claims when the chain of events is so unpredictable. This is why emotion often collides with the strict logic of the law in cases like this.
You know who I'm furious at, Your Honor? I'm furious
His
at
mother? What did she do?
Your Honor, she was negligent.
By what? By what? By not noticing that her husband, who died of pancreatic cancer, had some residue medicine that her son may be threatened to be outed over?
Your Honor, the procedure is when you have dangerous medication like that, immediately when you can't use it anymore, you're supposed to dispose of it.
Is that what you do?
That's what you're supposed to.
Is that what you do? Because
Your
that's
Honor-
not what I do.
Your
And I'm a
Honor-
pretty careful person.
Respectfully, Your Honor, my father died of cancer.
Okay.
And he was in hospice at home.
I got a feeling your daughter can get her hands on any drugs she wants, any way she wants, because this is a pretty novel way of getting your hands on drugs. Telling a kid you'll out them if they don't give them to you. So how is that his fault or mom's fault? Can you stop a second?
Yes, Your
Miss
Honor.
Hammett, can I ask you something?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you think it's their fault?
I think there's certainly blame to go around on both sides.
Okay, who made you take the drugs, sweetie?
Peer pressure from my friends.
Okay, nobody made you. You put them in your mouth because you wanted them.
Yes.
I know you wanted them because you weren't in a situation where peer pressure was involved. You were the peer applying the pressure. You were literally threatening to out him, which is his decision at the pace he wants, if he wants. It is absolutely no one's business.
Coming up,
Do you have any idea what the dosage was on those pills? How much you should take to try to be buzzed? Do you know anything? Why were you desperately trying to get your hands on them?
Your Honor.
Hold on, I'm not talking to you. I'm having the conversation you should have had with her.
Notice the judge's tone shift here. Judge Milan confronts Sasha directly, refusing to let her hide behind excuses. He highlights the manipulation, the threats, and the intentional pressure she placed on another teenager. This is not pity. It is accountability. Courts do more than assign liability. They also set a precedent, a moral standard. The judge is sending a clear message. You must own your choices. For viewers, this is a moment of clarity. The father wants someone else to bear responsibility, but the judge insists on confronting the daughter's actions head-on.
I just read your texts out loud. I judge you by what you say. You are literally manipulating him and what you know to be his greatest fear for you to get your hands on the drugs. Look, you know, you're young and you're going to make a lot more mistakes before this is over, all right? You'll come back from this, and you're very lucky that you came back from it. But I don't know how you, Dad, think it's going to help daughter to come to court and sue them instead of making sure she has accountability for her actions, because drugs are always going to be available. You understand? So
Yes, Your Honor.
really, the big message you should be giving your daughter is how lucky she is to be breathing.
Absolutely.
Right? Did the doctors tell you? Because I don't think it was 2 pills, and neither do the doctors.
Your Honor.
Okay? And do you have any idea what the dosage was on those pills? How much you should take to try to be buzzed? Do you know anything? Why were you desperately trying to get your hands on them?
Your Honor.
Hold on, I'm not talking to you. I'm having the conversation you should have had with her. Why were you desperately trying to get your hands on him like that?
Because he was easy, and I knew he wouldn't ask me for much more. And he only gave me the 2 pills. He didn't give me the bottle or any instructions with them.
Oh, did you expect him to administer medical advice about how much you should take to get buzzed? Because I don't think he's in that position. He's just a kid scared that you're going to ruin his life.
Judge Million's verdict when justice for the people returns.
Now we reach the climax. The father argues that the mother was negligent, but the judge draws an important distinction. Negligence could exist if morphine had been carelessly left out for an 8-year-old during a playdate. In this case, however, Sasha was not a passive child. She schemed, threatened, and manipulated her way into obtaining the drugs. The difference is decisive. The overdose resulted not from careless storage, but from deliberate manipulation. And in negligence law, that difference means everything.
You've come to court and said mom is responsible.
She's negligent.
And mom has to pay $1,100 because mom was negligent. It's not as though your child is 8 years old and was over there on a play date and morphine was left out. Then mom would be negligent. And your daughter not only made choices behind that lady's back, she threatened him to private information in order to get her hands on it. I don't think anybody in that household was negligent. You should have told your mom. Rather than giving her the pills, you should have talked to your mom. She might have figured out some other way to keep her mouth shut if that was your one concern, such as talking to dad, whatever. But you know what? That is nowhere near a transgression as that was.
And there it is, the ruling. The mother is not negligent, and the claim is denied. The law requires proof of direct causation, and here that link simply did not exist. The overdose was caused by a chain of manipulation, not careless storage. The lesson is difficult. Sometimes the individual who suffers is also the one who carries the most responsibility. What do you think? Do you agree that the ruling was correct? Or do you believe the mother should have been held accountable for failing to destroy the medication?
And what caused her to have her overdose was not Ms. Chen. Verdict in this case for the defendant.
Judge Millian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is denied.
So, what can we take from this case? First, grief and tragedy create vulnerabilities that can spiral into disaster. Second, in law, responsibility is not the same as blame. The father's anguish is real, but the negligence claim could not stand. The mother had no reasonable way to predict this outcome. The ruling makes sense in legal terms, even if it leaves emotional scars unresolved. Above all, the case reminds us of the dangers of peer pressure, manipulation, and secrecy. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to press the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more powerful courtroom breakdowns.